Hello, my name is Dan. I am the armchair model railroader, and I have been drawing several concepts of a layout of Bridgeport, Connecticut, loosely based on Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I've made about three versions of this interchange that is a fictional interchange with a car ferry that would take freight cars over to Long Island Railroad, and that's totally fictional. That doesn't exist. There is a car ferry that runs out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, that goes to Port Jefferson in on Long Island. And so in this first version, I had the staging yard going into this crazy looping thing around Bridgeport Station, and then going across over here to a fictional railroad museum. And what it what the story was that I came up with is that the Long Island Railroad wanted to expand from Long Island to a route to Boston, straight to Boston, and that became even more of a thing after. Well, it originally started in 1873 when the Long Island Railroad opened a station at Port Jefferson. But then, sometime around 1900, 1910, somewhere in there, the Long Island Railroad was 51% of its shares went to the Pennsylvania Railroad, which started. Uh, then they were in control of the Long Island Railroad, and this route would have become extremely important by then. They could the Pennsylvania Railroad could have a route into Connecticut and Massachusetts, which they never had. So that's why there's a really massive steam facility here. And I just really like the interchange between electric locomotives and steam locomotives. I thought that would be a cool scene. And after I drew this, which is basically a round the room layout with a funky shaped peninsula, I sat on this for many days looking at it and examining it and just thinking to myself, what a headache this is all going to be over here. And also, I didn't like how it just came to just a very little area over here, and the funky trolley loop that goes through the middle of the port tracks to satisfy a trolley route across the museum property that would take it down here to where the Long Island Railroad was supposed to go to. And I just wasn't very happy with this version of the layout, so I decided to do a second version. And in this version, the interchange is huge. There's staging on both ends of the interchange. Bridgeport Station doesn't look anything like the actual Bridgeport Station, and this track, the actual interchange happening here, going down here, and going around and over a creek that doesn't exist in real life, and then going into these factories down here, these shops. The line comes downhill here and goes to this really crappy track that goes around the railroad museum, and then it would go from there down these tracks and through this funky loop underneath the tracks into an area that had a backdrop all the way around it. The backdrop was here, going all the way around, and then a scene with a car float and a little rail yard and a fake trolley factory, completely made up. Didn't I don't know what kind of trolley presence was in Bridgeport. I imagine it's massive because it's a big city on the East Coast. I'm sure the Connecticut company had a lot of trolley lines in Bridgeport, but yeah, I decided that this was even worse, and I had to come up with some kind of different plan because it doesn't work for me at all. So then I came to the third version, which didn't really take me too long to figure out what I didn't like about either one of those plans and how to remedy it all. So this is the third version. It's not a complete version, it's just what I've come up with so far. And every time I look at this version, I add things to it and make little suggestions like this area here, instead of this being a wall backdrop hiding this space, to actually turn it around and go this way with the wall across here, so that when you're standing here looking this way, I don't want people to see this whole thing going on down here where the tracks on the northeast corridor go from 4 tracks into 1 track. This is going to not only a helix that goes down and is basically a time waster, and goes down into a lower level staging yard, but also there's a returning loop back to this point on this side. And that would be on a mezzanine level running underneath here. And down at the other end of Bridgeport Station down here, there would be a building across here, several buildings across here, that would hide wherever this goes. I'm not sure if it's going to go in this angle or go down in this angle, but I want these two ends to be linked together so that a train can go through the whole scene and then come back around and go through the scene again. So you can have roundy round operation if you really want it. But most of it would be about the nighttime interchange right here, where freight cars would be brought up here by CSX or the New Haven, depending on what era you model. And so the New Haven is electrified, so these are all electrical catenary or representative of it. That's a signal bridge there. And then the I don't know what they call it, the bridge that holds the power transformers on it. I really like the look of them. I want to model one right there. And another signal bridge down here at this end. This is a bridge structure. I didn't highly detail it, but this is a bridge. And there's a road that goes downhill here and goes underneath the bridge here. It's still... I needed to have enough space for a train to come underneath of it from the either returning loop or from the staging or something. Or it has to be able to come down here and go underneath this space, because that's where the return loop would be. And I have completely messed that space up with my hand. This is very fresh stuff, so it's going everywhere. And I've been playing around with it because I've been imagining how trains would operate in here. Also in Bridgeport, there's the Barnum and Bailey Museum, which is very close to the rail yard over here. And so it'd be cool to have a circus train load up on this stub end track that is also fictionary. There is no stub end tracks at Bridgeport. And so we have the car ferry area down here, and the way it gets there is the track comes off here, the interchange, and it goes from electrified into the steam diesel area fairly quickly. It comes across a bridge here. These are all drawbridges, as typical as you would see in Bridgeport. There would be 3 drawbridges. There would be a road bridge with a trolley line, the port drawbridge, and then the New Haven interchange drawbridge. And that comes down here to so this area would be like a hillside. So this track would be above this track, which would be above this track. And this would be the museum here. The trolley line comes around the road here, but quickly goes off the side of the road. And this is the parking lot for the museum. And the trolley line just keeps on going through the grass until it comes across the main line over here. So these two tracks would be nearly the same height. This is pretty much the area where the two sections of the yard come together to the same height. And then there's a big modern recreation of a roundhouse here that wasn't originally there. This is a museum building. This is a museum building. The car barn, I'm going to try to depict it like a typical Connecticut company trolley barn. And there would be a very large curved backdrop here that goes all the way around to there. So this space here and here would be walls. Those are both walls with backdrop on them. And this is the line that is the museum excursion line, and that would be another time waster where it would disappear. Or conversely, if you're modeling a different area, you could have a dual mode locomotive come up here that has both diesel and overhead power, and then go across this single track right here is the ramp that connects the two yards together. So that'd be the main line right here. And then it comes around here and goes back uphill. Back uphill to the interchange with the main line over here. And you could say that you could just have it continue straight on to the main line and just disappear into the lower level staging yard. And yeah, it's got, obviously there's a trolley loop here on this main avenue, and this main avenue area I was kind of depicted as a large like city park looking area. And I might have I-95 bisect this area here to hide the tracks so that you could give you a good scenery break across here. And yeah, the Railroad Museum is, I grew up at the time with railroad museums. I didn't really see mainline operation of fallen flags like the Pennsylvania Railroad, Penn Central. I'm sure it was operating up until around the time that I was born. And then I rode the Northeast Corridor several times between New Haven and Washington, D.C. At least twice a year, if not 3 times a year. Yeah, 3 times a year I'd ride it. And from, I don't know, the 90s until the 2010s, I'm sure. It was somewhere around in there. I rode it a lot. So I've seen the entire Northeast Corridor from Washington, D.C. all the way through to New Haven, Connecticut over and over again. And I'm originally from the coast of Connecticut, and so Bridgeport and the areas that are close to New York City, I know them very well. This railroad museum is how I remember trains when I was growing up. I've been to railroad museums, and I've always wanted to model a railroad museum. I wanted to make a train that was made up of passenger cars from all over the country, and just slap a steam locomotive on it and run it down the rails. And so with this railroad museum, they house a full-size train in this building, and they roll it out on weekends up to the stub-in track over here. And down in this area, there would be an access to a steam pipe so that they could steam up the locomotive and have it run down the main line to another town like Stamford. Maybe turn it around there, or maybe there could be a mythical Y or turntable someplace in one of the towns closer to New York City. So in this direction is New York City, Grand Central Terminal, and also across the Hell's Gate to Penn Station. And then this route over here represents the route going back towards New Haven and Boston, and ultimately Boston. So thank you if you've gotten to this end of the video. Don't forget to hit the like button and go ahead and comment in the video Bridgeport. Thank you.